In this video, I'm going to show you how to adjust a truss rod properly and also how to properly sight your neck to see whether it's how curved it is so you know when you need to adjust it and whether you've done it properly. So I have a truss rod here and I'll explain how it works because I think that will be helpful. But first, let's talk about how to properly sight your neck. So there's a couple things you want to keep in mind when you're sighting your neck. One is how you hold the guitar. So hold the guitar like this, look down it, then gravity is going to be affecting how curved that neck is. Whereas if you hold it like this, it's only affecting it up and down, which is not going to affect the curve that you're looking for. Okay, so that's the way you want to hold the guitar. And when you're looking at it, you want to look just along one of the edges. So you don't want to be looking down the middle of the neck, and it could be either edge. It could be this edge, or it could be this edge. So this is what a truss rod looks like. It's two bars, one on the bottom, one on the top that's flat. And that flat part sits underneath your fingerboard. And you'll see that little Allen key hole or nut sticking out on either the headstock or it'll be sticking out the sound hole. Either way, it's the same principle. So basically how it works is you have this blue part, which is just a straight rod with a nut welded on to the end. Okay, so that's all one piece, that bottom part attached to the nut. The top part is a flat bar that's welded on this side, so it's attached here, and it's attached to a nut that slides back and forth along this thread. So it's a female thread that attached to the bar that slides back and forth on this male thread here. Okay, now how it works is when you stick this Allen key in there and tighten it, then it makes a bow in that bar. So that bow then puts upward pressure on the center of the neck. And that is what counteracts the massive amount of pressure that each string is pulling on that piece of wood, something like 180 pounds per string. So it's a lot of tension on that piece of wood that's making it curve this way. So once you understand how a truss rod works, then the question of which way to turn it sort of becomes obvious, right? If tightening it makes this push up on the neck, then that's what you do to counteract a curve like that. Now, most of the time that's going to be the case because of like I said, the tension on the strings is pulling it this way. Sometimes you can have what's called a back bow, which is when it's curved the other way. Usually only if your guitar's been sitting with the strings off or some really heavy-duty moisture issues. But most likely you're dealing with a neck that's curved this way. So that means that when you're turning it, you're going to be turning it to the right. Righty-tighty, lefty-loosey. Hopefully that makes sense. Okay, so now to actually explain how to adjust your truss rod. It's very easy. There's not really much to it. All you really need is an Allen key. You probably had one with your guitar. If you lost it, it's not a big deal because it's just an Allen key. Any hardware store can sell you a single Allen key or a set, or you might have a set lying around. It might be imperial, it might be metric. You can find out online or you can just test it out. So you want to make sure that when you're using any Allen key in your truss rod, that it's a perfect fit. You don't want to use one that doesn't fit perfectly. If it's loose at all, then don't do it. Because if you strip that, it's a very big job to take off that fingerboard and replace the truss rod. So, words of warning. Other than that, it's very easy. If you find one that fits, then you're golden. Now, for other guitars, I realized this one, after I took off the cover here, actually has a Taylor style nut on it. So it's not the same as this, which uses an Allen key. This one uses a socket. This one's actually too small. So I had to grab a 1/4-inch socket, which is right here. So it's the same exact principle, but instead of a key, it's is an actual nut. So you stick this on there, again, making sure that it fits. This one's a 1/4 inch socket, and you're going to be turning it to the right. Now, if it's on the sound hole side, you might need to loosen off the D and the G string because that'll give you enough room for it to actually turn. But this is pretty easy. Take off the cover, make sure it fits perfectly, and again, you're turning it to the right because that's what's going to put upward pressure on here. So as long as you know your rights and your lefts, then you're good. And in terms of how much to turn it, you don't want to turn it too much. I would say a 1/4 turn max, because if you adjust it too much, it's going to put a lot of pressure on there, and you want your adjustments to happen slowly. You don't want it to be a massive shift, right? You're working with wood, which moves slowly, like the Lord of the Rings, if you've ever seen it, the Ents. No need to be hasty. Okay, so you've got it in there, fits perfectly, and you're ready to turn it. And I'm just going to do, for this one, I'm only going to do an 1/8 inch turn because that's all it really needs. So you want to look down the side here and just, probably not even an 1/8 inch, because this one's actually doesn't need much, just a very slight turn. So that's just under an 1/8 of an inch. And also I should mention what I mean by a 1/4 inch turn is, if you imagine a circle, 1/4 inches, or a 1/4 circle is that much, okay? Now, once you've done that, then you pick it up and you sight it in the same way. You look at how it's been adjusted, and then you can do another slight turn, or not if it's good. And don't worry if you hear, if you haven't adjusted your truss rod in a while, you might hear a loud crack. Don't worry, it's fine. I mean, as long as you obey the rule of only turning less than a 1/4 of an inch, it should be fine. Now, if you feel a lot of that you can't turn it, then don't turn it any further, because you might already it might already be turned, pushed in as far as it can go. It's at the end of the thread, and you can't actually turn it anymore. So you don't want to turn it and break it. That's the other thing to keep in mind. But as long as you stick with those rules, number 1, make sure your Allen key fits perfectly. Number 2, make slight adjustments, no more than a 1/4 turn. Number 3, if you feel it, that it's not turning, then it's probably at the end of its thread, and that might just be as far as it'll go, and then you can do other things if that's the case, but that's another video. So that's basically all there is. It's just tightening a little screw, nothing to be afraid of. And yeah, that's it. It's very simple. It's something that every guitar player should know. And hopefully this video was helpful and you're not afraid to adjust your truss rod anymore.